Favorite TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Welcome to Next Gen Warriors. This is a program for young people. It's a program that is geared towards ensuring that the young people can manifest their influence and their various mountains. This program is brought to you courtesy of Elevate TV, and I am your host of the day, Collins Otas. So there's this question that normally comes up about careers. When you're growing up, when you were just being born and you just joined school and people are asking you, what do you want to become when you grow up? The teachers have their own ideas, the parents have their own ideas, and even you as a young person, even at that tender age, you had your own idea. So basically, what is a career path? How does it come about? Because with all these questions, there's a lot of confusion, and you end up not knowing what exactly you want to become when you grow up. So ladies and gentlemen, today with me in studio, I have Pastor Basil Makulomba, who is going to take us through this issue of career path. How do we define our career path? How do we become who we want to be in life? So Pastor, I know maybe you're talking about career path, but there are people outside there who are not even sure what is a career in the first place. So just as a way of introduction, and even before you get into the topic, maybe you want to tell the viewers something about you. Who is Basil? Where are you from? You know, people are wondering, you've just brought this man on set and you are into the questions and we don't even know who he is. Pastor, please.
Well, thank you. My name is Basil Mwakulomba Mwabuganga. I am a married man and blessed with 2 boys. Yeah, my career, in terms of career, I'm trained as an accountant, trained as a manager. So that is a whole list of stuff that I've been able to do in terms of building myself in my career. Basically, I serve in the humanitarian world. That's where I'm giving out my gifts and my profession too, and helping the needy and the less fortunate to be able to rise to their level of influence that God has set out for them. So that's a bit about me. I have much to talk about me. Coming to the topic of today, yes. You began quite well saying there's an interesting question that every person is asked. What do you want to be in the future? And that question seems never to be answered. That every year you get into, people ask you the same question, and you discover that at times our answers keep changing. And that is a critical reality of our lives, and many young people are struggling with finding themselves and determining what they want to be in the future. So let's begin by saying what career is. Career is where you can practice the giftings that you have to be able to earn out of it. So a place where you can practice your giftings, practice your strengths, practice your wisdom, release the grace inside of you to be able to be utilized by the world. Okay. When that happens, and then you begin earning thereof, then you're on the path of your career. And I want to say this, a career is a path. It's not a destination. It's a journey that you take in discovering yourself as you rise at the different levels of the career path that you may be in.
Awesome. So basically, today, ladies and gentlemen, we are taking you through this path. We are going to walk you this path up to where, in fact, there's no destination. I was almost telling them, I'm going to walk you to the destination. So it is a path that is ongoing. So as we began, you realized that when I was giving the introduction bit, there's the confusion that normally sets in with the teacher, the parent, there's a mentor here, there's somebody here. So with this confusion, I mean, there are some limitations that come about. So what is the connection between the limitations and the confusions? Like the confusions lead to some limitations. So how do they affect someone?
The reason why our answers keep changing to the question, what do you want to be in the future? It's because of the introduction of probably new information that contradicts the previous information. And I want to say that in the terms of deciding which career you want to take, many people find themselves struggling because, number one, of misconception about careers. So they are told various things about different careers, which could be wrong. Secondly, it could be limited understanding of the people of your world. For example, there are many new careers or many new career options that people have in terms of professionalism. So depending on the world you are in, if your teacher does not know some things exist, his revelation to you will limit what you can be able to dream of. Your parents may be having a limited scope about some stuff. So because of what they don't know, and they're the people who are guiding you, your worldview will be limited by that. And as you grow, probably you begin having understanding of greater things. I talked to a friend of mine who is now studying another element of medicine, some bit of neuroscience, something of that sort, repairing neurons in the brain. Now, that's a new field altogether. In fact, I think they're the second class doing it. This is a new field. Now, if somebody is to take that path toward that direction, it will become a bit confusing to a teacher of today who has no idea about it. So their ability to be able to keep discovering becomes either a limitation or a plus for you. Now, depending on your exposure of information, exposure of the content that you have, your ability to understand your career becomes possible or becomes limited. So, secondly,
allow me to interject at this point.
Yes.
So what we are getting at, even with the viewers who are watching right now, is that there's a possibility of having a limited scope and having a narrowed worldview in regards to our career.
Yes.
So we need to expand our networks, so to speak, so that we get more information on these careers, right?
Oh, yes.
So then the question then comes, how do I expand my scope? How do I expand my network? What are some of the things that will get me to know more about this career?
And tuning into a program like this is one of the options that you have.
Definitely, definitely. Next Gen Warriors can never fail you.
Yes.
Yes.
When we get more exposed, and it's allowing yourself to experience different people. For many Christians, they come in church and they lack the opportunity of connecting with people. Through connections, you're able to know what different people do. For example, in a church, it's an array of career options that exist. And when you begin talking to people and get to ask them, what are you doing? What is your day like? You begin expanding your scope. 2, TV helps us to begin understanding how the world is. For example, when you watch TV, you can see the space. I have a small boy who loves the space. Now, my dilemma is, if he is passionate about space, where will he be able to grow in that dimension? But what I'm doing right now is giving him enough information about space stuff. So that as he grows on, right now he's telling me, Dad, can we go to Japan or Russia? Because
the boy must be very
he's 5 years old,
eh?
but because he has seen the spacecraft and everything, his worldview of what he wants to do is increasing. So when we watch TV, when we watch some of this stuff, they can help us when we are watching with an intention to grow ourselves. Then we can pick a lot of substance. Other aspect is reading books. The more you read, the more you know. Our world is limited by what we have read. So if you haven't read much about careers, I'll recommend begin searching about careers to know what career options exist in the market.
Do you have any books that you want to recommend? Or that
well, with the current world, I'll say just Google career options and you'll be able to find multiple careers.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. But I want you to go deeper into something. There's the aspect of networking that you touched on church.
Yes.
But you know, we are ministering to even those who are not in church. So what happens to me who is not coming to church every day, every Sunday? So how do I go about it? Because yes, in church I'll find an array of people.
Yeah.
But in the outside world, in the marketplace, how do I go about it? Do I need mentors? Do I need maybe to attend seminars? So what are some of the things that I can do outside church and outside maybe watching television and reading books?
I've been encouraged and challenged by various motivational speakers who challenge you to go out of your way to grow. Now, if you sit in a comfortable space, you can't be able to grow because you'll be limited by what you just know. Now, going out for seminars becomes a great advantage. At times, I've been doing youth talks in schools, and not every student participates. This ain't a Christian or a church thing, but it's a universal thing. But you find people are limiting themselves by not availing their bodies in a place where information is provided. So as a young person, you should be alert to see where could I get this information. Some of the county governments are promoting mentors to go to schools to be able to engage with young people. If you don't reach out to these people, you will be blocked out. Another thing I will say, when you see people whom you admire, reach out to them.
Reach out.
Many people want to help, but they don't know who they should help. So probably once you stretch out your hand and say, by the way, I really like the way you dress. What do you do with yourself? By just that action, you may discover you could have provoked a reaction which can transform your career life in a great way. Because that person whom you know may discover things about you and then even connect you further to the place of interest.
Awesome.
In my workplace, I've invited young people from needy homes just to come to the office, visit various departments to see what happens. And one of the guys, the young boy, said this statement, I came in this place with a dream, but I'm living with multiple dreams because his worldview suddenly shifted from the few things he knew, to multiple options, from engineering, accounting, management, driving, great array of available opportunities which were existing in their community, but they're not got an opportunity to link up. So I would suggest that sometimes you can just take a step out, and that can change your world.
So ladies and gentlemen, what our able panelist is saying is that you need to reach out, step out, don't sit back and wait. Things do not happen while people are seated. Step out, reach out, then you experience. Even as we proceed, I want you to touch on, remember we were just talking about the confusion that comes and the limitations that are linked to the confusions, and I think we've just touched on one. So there's also the aspect of biases, especially on the side of the parents. Because you see the parent is saying, you must be a Dr. Basil, and you are like, I want to be a musician. And now there's this bias that's like, musicians, you know, those are just jokers, you know, doctors, they have money. So there's this bias. So how do you deal with bias? Because it's part of the confusion at the earliest stage.
We have an environment whereby we have got elders who have an opinion over everything we do. And that's a reality of the context we are in. Things are changing slowly by slowly, with parents getting more informed. But this is something you need to define. Once you have defined who you are, it becomes critical. Because parents, teachers can begin telling you what they think you can become, which is not wrong for them to do that. It is additional information for your use, but not for your conclusion.
Did you just say it's not wrong?
It is not wrong. You see, I may desire good for you, and I'll give you information concerning what I know. Now that is information that you need to have, that you can use to build yourself, or to know that that's not what you are called to. And then negotiating with, if your parents are a person of influence who is paying for your school fees, there may be need to find negotiation. For example, you want to do music. Your parent is saying, go do medicine. And probably you have got the ability to do medicine and music together. And there are many musicians, there are some musicians who are doctors.
I know of some.
Yes. So the reality that somebody could be leading to a certain direction, there may be a truth and there may be a fallacy. The fallacy comes in that I as a parent wanted to become a doctor. Since I did not make it, I want my children to be able to become that.
You see, they need to step into my shoes as a parent.
Yes, to cover the gap of your failure.
Is that wrong? For my son to step into my shoes where I failed?
Now, there is a difference if the son has ability.
Okay.
Now, the mistake comes in when their biases are not cognizant
of your abilities. Yeah.
So you're putting pressure on a donkey to produce milk. Now, you can't have milk from a donkey. There may be some milk, but it may not be consumable to make tea.
Yeah.
So when you understand that this is a child of this dimension, parents need to appreciate that. And even as a person, you need to appreciate that, that my parent could be forcing me to an area that I'm not good at, and begin negotiating and demonstrating that this is what I'm good at. This is what I feel I am wired to. So these biases are wrong because they can limit a child's thinking if they just flow by the virtue of what they are told, you can become this, and they work on that only, without appreciating what they have inside of them.
Awesome. So that is quite that's quite extensive explanation there. I was just thinking as you're speaking, I was just thinking like apart from the biases, there are also careers which are misrepresented, and I know the two tie together. But there's a difference between a bias, because a parent has a liking towards something, and a misrepresentation is more of information. So for a young man or a young lady who is watching us right now, how do we deal with misrepresentation of careers? Like, when I was growing up, I'll speak for myself on this one. I was told, if you want to succeed in Kenya, you must be a lawyer. Lawyers have good cars, lawyers have good money. And I'm out here, I'm doing other things. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not complaining about the money I'm earning. So there's this misrepresentation. Also when like somebody like you, when you go to the high schools and you talk about careers, I don't know, for lack of a better word, we have the A careers, the B careers, the C careers. So there's a lot of misrepresentation. So as a young man who is in college, who is in high school, who is gearing to become something in future, how do you deal with misrepresentation? Forget about the bias now.
Yes.
Now we have the information, but it is not correct. How do you deal with it?
I remember when growing up, when I would be asked, what do you want to become? My answer was a pilot. Because it was over-represented as the best career for anyone to take up. And that was a limitation to me. Actually, I refused to go to the high school I was called in because I wanted to go to a high school which was known to be having aeronautics classes. So my life came to a standstill. It was a big dilemma at home. That my parents tried to take me to a high school, a professional high school, and I said no, I want to become a pilot. For me to become a pilot, I must go to this national school. And it was a big stress. Today I look back, it was because that career was misrepresented as the only career probably that could make me successful. Now, that is an important reality that every young person should be able to appreciate. Sometimes you may be having a dream based on the available information at that point. Now, and the misrepresentation comes in when it is said this career is bad, this one is good. I want to put this statement clearly. There is no good or bad career.
So there is no good or bad career. You just heard it from Next Gen Warriors.
Because there are guys who have done law who are struggling. There are guys who have done medicine who are struggling. There is a neighbor who he's a pilot. He was fired because of issues about himself. So it does not matter what career you are in. What matters is who you are in that career.
So I know this may not be related to this topic, but now that you brought it up,
yes.
What sets you apart at the career world? What sets you apart? Said that you've said that you have a pilot who is at home.
Yes.
And there's a mkokoteni pusher who is on the street making money.
Yes.
So what sets you apart in your career?
Critical question. It has got many dimensions. But I want to say this. I had a speaker say, down here, it is crowded. Up there, there is space.
But you'll be lonely there?
It is lonely, but you have got space. You can land back.
Okay.
You can connect. People can desire to come to where you are. And people love being where there are many people. Now, if we are to make an impact and grow in our career, we must be tired of being with the masses and choose to rise above, whereby there is too much space. Somebody asked, have you ever seen a flight, or other planes colliding?
Because there are few of them up there.
There are few of them up there. So if you want to enjoy your career, you must strive getting there. And these are the principles I will put about getting to that place. Number one, once you have known what you're good at, then build on what you're good at. Make yourself exceptional on that specific thing. And when people ask, who is Otas? What can Otas do? They can quickly say, Otas can sort us out on this matter. Now that positions you well. And that calls for a lot of discipline, of continually developing yourself, of being patient with yourself while you are stretching yourself. Now, in career path, if you are not growing, then you are rotting. They say stagnant waters stink.
Come again, if you're not growing?
Then you are rotting.
Then you are rotting.
Yes.
You either grow or you rot.
Either grow or rot. In fact, rivers don't stink. It is only stagnant waters that stink. So anybody who is so
profound, that is very deep.
As long as you keep growing and keep going, you'll find that you are having a freshness that is not available with many people. And that makes you now to begin growing in your career. And the aspect of mentors still come in. People who can challenge you, you can go beyond this, you can do this, who keep stretching your abilities to the level that you can be stretched. And they keep opening spaces for you because of the value that you are carrying inside of you. So many guys lack the character and the stamina that I want to grow in this area. People complain, oh, there is a lot of favoritism. Some people are being promoted, we're not being promoted. But I want to say this, if you're not putting into yourself, then nobody will value you. If you haven't valued yourself enough to grow in the craft you're involved in, nobody can value you.
But Pastor, you see, I'm a young man. I come from Kayole. Mimi hata hizi vitu za mentorship mi usikia tu kwa TV, sahi nimesikia tu kwa Elevate sahi. So how do I grow? You know, those are some of the challenges young people face out here. I come from Kibra. I've been brought up. I've gone to Olympic Primary. I've gone to Olympic Secondary. The best college I've gone to is a college at the Kibra level. So then now you come to me and you tell me you have failed, but it is about the resources that are aligned to me. So how do you come up and blame me for not growing? You see, I really want to succeed in my career, but the resources are limited. So what happens? Like, how do I make sure that the limited resources I have are able to allow me propel into the career that I want to use.
Let me tell you this. There are many people from Kibra who have made it. And the moment as a young person you begin finding reasons as to why you are failing, which number one is blaming the system and the people, that is the beginning of your downfall. Anyone who has reasons why they have failed us, because I didn't have resources, because I didn't have this, have curtailed their growth. But people who desire to grow and say irrespective of this, there are guys who schooled with a candle. They did not say that when they would have said we don't have electricity in our home, they chose to burn a candle to be able to read. I have a friend of mine who is an associate director with one of the audit firms, the big 5 audit firms. He was out of school from Form 2 because his parent died, his father died, and he had no fees to go to school. So for 2 years, he was borrowing notebooks from the guys who are going to school. At night, he will write notes using a candle.
Okay.
Yes, take notes. In the morning, give out the books. This boy had reasons why he should fail. But we met in campus. He was different. He had grown from the worst of situations, but he refused the situations to define him. He chose to define his new future. Now, when it talks about career, it's the issue of how passionate are you about where you want to go. If you keep looking at where you are and not seeing where you want to go, then you are bound to go down.
Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, there is no excuse. Don't have any excuse for your failure. If you fail, you've just decided to fail. But there is no excuse for failure. So I want us to take this to the next level. I know in the midst of the discussion, you talked about there are no better careers, there are no good careers. There's no bad or good career. All the careers are like similar. But in reality, let's face it, in reality, I think we have better, good, better, best careers, for lack of a better word. Because now, for instance, you can't compare what somebody in the Jokali sector earns with what a CEO somewhere is earning. So the question that I want you to maybe dwell on is there's this comparison. How do we balance the place of comparison between two careers? Like, I don't have to go this way, I can go this way and still be comfortable. I can meet my peer who is a bank manager and I am just a driver and I am comfortable. Because young people, like right now with the advent of social media, what we post is actually not who we are. So how do I meet the balance so that I'm just comfortable being this online marketer? Even when I meet you who is maybe the finance manager, we can still have normal stories. How do I come to that place of balance as a young person?
You've put it right. There's a need for balance. And the question is, who defines which is a better career? Who defines that? Now, we have many people who have had the misconception of saying this is better because we grew up being told to become a doctor is the best thing. Yes, it is a good thing to be a doctor. And remember, even in the medicine world, basically those who have studied medicine, they're not all doing the same thing, not all at the same level. They have distinguished themselves differently. Now, if I am an online marketer, am I the best in what I'm doing? If I am working in the bank, not everyone in the bank is a bank manager.
They're even cleaners in banks.
They're even cleaners in banks. So the issue here is, what are you doing with what you have? There are teachers, and there are teachers who are different. There are drivers, and there are drivers who are different. In a place I worked in, the people who had done the highest investment, so-called financially, were drivers. Higher than some of the directors. Because of how they were operating and understanding their parts, that I am driving for work. It's a part of the job I'm doing. But I have got other things I could be able to do. So driving is a temporal thing that I'm doing. And when you begin defining career only limited to employment and work, it is limiting. Because career is quite vast. It is the application of your gifts to earn a living. For people to pay for your gifts. Now, I could be a driver, but that is one gift I'm having. But I'm applying other gifts that make me become a different type of a driver. The driving gives me exposure. I travel the world the different parts of the country to be able to multiply another aspect of my gifting. And you find the driver's level of intelligence is different because his career is not tied to the job he's doing, but is tied to the gifts that he has that he's putting into application. Wow. So now the aspect of comparison, we must refrain. We must choose to refrain and know that our paths are different.
Of course we must refrain. And for us here, we might be able to refrain, but the society has expectations. And they're saying that daktari wacha kae kiti ya mbele. Wewe ambaye wewe ni nini kaa hapa nyuma tuonane nyuma ya tent. Tunadili aje na hiyo surely pastor.
You can't change.
How do you refrain?
You can't change.
I know it's a hard question. I know it's a hard question and you may not have a conclusive answer. But then this young person is really struggling. You know, they have gone to school and the jobs are not coming and all that. So maybe if you just advise them on some of the things like they can do to refrain, like how do they become comfortable with themselves in this career that they are taking, so that it doesn't become like a bother to them, because some people even end up in suicide.
You see, the issue is we are in a hurry to get to our next level. When I see you ahead of me, probably you left earlier than me, or you had other support systems that lifted you to that level. So when I'm building my own, I should focus on my job. I should focus on what I can do to be able to get there. Now, the comparison bit comes that we feel we should be there earlier. We feel we are entitled to be there earlier. But we want to avoid the process of making. You see, if you choose to go ahead of yourself, then you find the pressure. And as an individual, I have made a decision. As much as there is pressure to be or to get there, I will remind myself it's only a matter of time. One young man told another elderly, proud man, that the only advantage you have a car and all these things because you saw the sun earlier than us. But we are coming there. Because the old man was frustrating the preaching of the gospel in a certain place. He had parked his vehicle in the crusade ground and he was just being arrogant. The man told him, you are where you are because you were born earlier than us.
All that thought there. Ladies and gentlemen, right after the break, we continue the conversation on how the old man might have seen the sun earlier. But even us as young people and as next gen warriors, we are coming there.
But I was praying and I was asking the Lord, you've sent me to this city. I have no money, I have no connection. How am I going to make it? The Lord told me, if you abide in my presence and seek my face, I will command people and I will take care of you. The most important thing that I keep on telling pastors, seek after the presence of God.
Glory to God, we are going to get excitedly impacted by this very powerful principle. Spend quality time.
Yeah, and the quantity.
And the quantity.
Because it can be quality, but it is not quantity.
Hello, people of God. My name is John Sego, the apostle of New International Church in Switzerland. Hey, I want to encourage you to keep watching Elevate Television, because this is the television of the time and this is the television of the season. I believe that the vision that God has given to his servant, Apostle David Juma, I believe that that vision is from heaven. And this television is designed to bring us closer to God and closer to the mandate of heaven. I personally am looking forward to come on board and start preaching the gospel on the same television. So you don't want to miss it. We bless this great television and we declare it's going to reach the nations of the world. Don't forget, anytime you log on, you are connecting with the right people, doing the right thing, and with the right God. God bless you.
It's good, yes, I get it. But is it all that? Is
That's
it like
the most
no avocado, no friendship?
That's the
You have that on your face all day.
See, Hivi. So even for us, even if you've been doing makeup correctly or you're not looking so bad, it's always it's always progressing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The conversation continues. Today, remember, we are talking about career path. And as just before the break, we were being told about an old man who had gone ahead of the people because he had seen the sun earlier than others. But the young men were like, we are also coming there. So let us get back to the conversation, Pastor. Like, even as we take it to another level in regards to this topic, so the question that I want us to, maybe I'd like us to look at right now is, what should one consider before joining a career? Because remember, we will say that there are so many things that make us uncomfortable in what we are doing. Yeah. So what should one consider before joining a career?
In my research and my engagement with young people for many years, one of the key things I have said is find yourself.
Find yourself.
Now let me expound on that part of find yourself, because you are lost.
I'm trying to find myself.
You could be lost and you're not aware.
Yes.
So until you have found yourself, then you cannot find your path. Now your career should be an inherent journey, and a journey that you're doing internally, then it is manifesting externally. Let me explain on that much more. When you find yourself, you know what strengths you have. Now some years back, I went through a coaching class and we were being told, write down all your strengths. It is important for you as a young person, when you think about your career, number one is to ask yourself, what do I have? God has a tendency of asking you, what do you have? Because he's already given you something. And when you discover what you have, then you have discovered what you can use in your career. So first step, know your strengths. Write them down. I'm gifted in 1, 2, 3. I'm strong in this and this. I love this subject. I don't struggle in 1, 2, 3 areas. Now, this becomes a critical foundation for you defining who you are. Now, with that, go to the next point. Define what are your weaknesses.
Pastor, even before you go to the next point, there's something I want you to touch on. There's this aspect of write your strengths.
Yes.
Is it the literal writing, or you write them at the back of your mind, or how do you write your strengths?
See, there is power when you have your own book. I have a book called My Reflection Book. This book, I've written lots of stuff about the things I hear, the things I need to do. Now, I recommend, if you're a young person who is serious about your life, have a book. Write down your thoughts.
Literally.
Literally. Because your mind can forget. Or whatever you have put down, you can always refer back to it. So always write down. It's a good place to remember. A few weeks ago, I was having some dilemma, and while praying, I heard this voice, go read your book. So I went and read the book. It had the answers to the situation that I was struggling with a few days ago. It was already written down because I had listened. I was at a place of conviction, at a place whereby there was a lot of clarity. Now, the reference to that book helped me to be able to find stamina to make the decision I was about to make. And that's to say that when you have written down your strengths, even when somebody comes and says you don't have this strength, but we did it when your time you are stable, that cannot be erased by anyone. That you are sure that I have this strength. Things can happen that your performance could have gone down, but since you are clear of your strengths, you can rebuild them up. You can silence the other voices because of a written word that exists concerning your life. So your career is first determined by you defining your strengths. Many guys are struggling because they don't even know their weaknesses. So they are going into ventures that are areas of their weakness.
So you brought up another aspect. So we've come from strength.
Yes.
And we've written them down.
Yes.
We have already found ourselves.
Yes.
So now we come to the level of where we understand our weaknesses.
Yes. So if you are poor in mathematics, it already tells you that there are some dimensions that you have given your best. You know, our weakness is whereby you have tried your best, but you're not been able to get to the highest level. That's an area of weakness. That you can say, I will work hard not to go down, but I will want to focus on an area whereby I am naturally strong. For me, a strength I wrote it down, is that I have a gift of speech. Now that is my strength. If there's any crippling that can happen to my life is when I lose my speech, because that is my major strength. Now with that, I begin asking myself, where can I practice my strengths? That's the next step. Where are my strengths needed? Now, for the journey of choosing a career, you need to answer a question. You need to answer this question: where are my strengths needed?
So you must locate a place where you are needed.
Various places. Let me call it various
places.
Yes, because with one gift, it can be applied differently. For example, you are an analytical person. You just, anything that you see, you quickly analyze it. You have got a keenness to detail. There are multiple areas you can be involved in. One, research. Two, auditing. All these are avenues that require somebody who is quite analytical, who has got an in-depth analysis on issues. Now, when you discover I have got these strengths, you can highlight the array of careers that are required, that require this strength. Now, that's a step whereby you are going to have options. That's why I said career options.
Yeah.
But I've got this strength. These strengths can be applied here. And that's why somebody who has studied medicine and is clear on their strengths, they may choose to go into research. We have lecturers who are doctors, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they are aligning probably their strength to the gift of speech. And there are guys who are quiet. They don't want to talk to anyone.
But they're still doctors.
They're still doctors.
Yeah.
Where do they go to? To the lab.
Yeah.
And they go and spend time with test tubes looking for medicine.
And
They're
the
all
microscopes.
at the microscope, yes. Because if they go to the hospital and treat people, it will be a boring experience. And there are many people who are misplaced because they studied something, because they had a strength probably in sciences, but they did not look at their entire composition of strengths. So that you did nursing, but probably you should not have gone to the wards. You could probably have focused on nursing, then management, and become a manager of nurses. Not have to be a nurse who is taking care of patients. That's why you find people in hospitals who harass patients, not because that they did not do well in their academics. They did well, but their career is misplaced because probably they should be doing something else, still using the same skill that they are having, but it is mispositioned. So until you find the right position for the application of your skills, then in your journey of calling yourself successful, you will be misplaced.
The right application for your?
The right placement for the application of your skills will make you succeed.
The right placement.
Yes. Now with my mouth, let me just share a bit about my career path. With my gift of speech, and I had a gift of mathematics. So I did my CPS and I finished it. And I began my career as an accountant. But I began evolving out of accounts because many accountants are quiet.
You couldn't just keep up because you have to talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So since I have to talk, that tells me I still have a strength of accounting. However, my gifting
is in speech.
It is a superior gifting. So how do I combine both? I moved from just a normal accountant into a capacity building officer in finance. Now whereby I was able to combine the gifts that I have to make meaning to my world. And that will distinguish me by the virtue of the combination of my strengths. Now distinguish me into the area I should be able to focus on. And I want to advise us in our journey of building our career paths, we must find out what is it that God has already put inside of me, plus the skills I've acquired over life, combine them and ask yourself, where can I practice them?
Pastor, I don't mean to be non-spiritual, but I've realized that you're touching so much on God, where God has placed in me. But somebody outside here is watching and they're wondering, sasa mimi sijaokoka na naambiwa tu hii gifting yako utapata kwa Mungu na nini na nini. Do you have like something like intuition, something that comes from you that maybe if you're not praying you can still feel I need to pursue this, you know? Because there might be somebody out here and they're saying, I am a Muslim. I've been watching this program and they're saying, you know, you have to do things this way, you know, or I'm an atheist. You have to do things this way, but I want to advance in my career. So do we have any other thing like an intuition? Can we say like, kuna kale kakitu kako ndani yako, kana kwambia?
You can say hako kakitu. And that's why, whether you're an atheist or not, we came from somewhere.
Yes.
And we live this earth. Some of the things we already have, they have already been given. So the fact that, and let me not sound so spiritual, because when you came on earth, you are a full package that kept growing. Now the distortion in life made you cease living yourself fully. Now, critical for you as a young person as you grow is to retrace your life back and say, what are these things that I have been doing naturally? For me, I was in drama, I was in debate club. These things were already given to me by God. They were already inside of me. And many of us, we have suppressed whatever is already inside of us. We have covered it. They start talking about the law of the lead, whereby you cannot go beyond what has been covered on you. So sometimes you need to break off and remember there are things I used to be good at. For example, I used to be a coach as a small boy.
Football coach?
Football coach. Yes, I will coach young goalkeepers because I used to play soccer. Because of my gifting and my passion to grow people, I used to do it from childhood. Now, every place I have gone to, one of my key focus on my career is developing people. And that is why all my giftings are geared towards helping people to become who they're supposed to be. It's because of discovering that I have a serious desire to help people grow. Now, when you retrace your life back as a child, or else you'll remember that there's some dreams you had, and probably you want to go for them, but you're afraid. Now, that distortion is what you need to find reinforcement now from the one who created you, the value of God. It helps you to be comfortable that I was loaded, I came loaded. I could be distorted, I need some formatting. Format back to settings. You remember when you buy a phone, there's a take it back to factory settings. So what I'm saying in career path, sometimes you need to to do some factory settings. What do you call it? Format to factory settings.
Factory setting.
And you're able to begin a new journey of building your life on your strengths.
Now, now that you've talked about retracing, finding your placement, knowing your strength, then there's also this aspect of you admire somebody, like sometimes I look at the presidents and I'm like, one day, but kwa ground vitu ni different. Now, there's this endless admiration, but ukiangalia ground, vitu ni different. And it's more or less like knowing your strength and all that. Me, I can speak. Nezambia watu mkinichagua nitakuwa nini. But then kwa ground vitu ni different. How do you deal with this endless admiration? Because it might make you not even go to the correct career because you're choosing a career. So
you see, what you admire is already inside of you. Let me say this statement. What you admire is already inside of you. The problem is the distortion of what you admire into a specific model. For example, if I admire presidency, it does not necessarily mean I will be the president, but probably I have an admiration for leadership. So when I begin redefining my strengths and my admiration, it is to understand that probably I'm a president of this community. I'm a leader in this community. I'm a leader in my group of young people. So my influence of these 10 that are in my life becomes a serious career that I am building on. Remember this, career is a path that you grow from one level of glory.
Not a destination.
Not a destination. So when you have grown your capacity as a young person, probably you are leading 10, then you can lead 50. You'll have been a prefect almost all my life. And I can tell you this, I've studied also leadership and management. The theories of management are the same theories that as class 1 prefect is applying.
That's that is, I don't know.
It's at the level.
Yeah.
So when what Uhuru is handling is almost similar to what a pastor is handling. Only that the dimensions are different and the scope is different. So the issue of leadership, you have a passion for leadership, keep at it and keep growing your capacity on how much you can influence. So I want to say this, the people you admire, reach out to them, learn from them, and take the journey, the progressive journey to becoming the greatest part you can be able to become.
Awesome.
Yes.
So ladies and gentlemen, there's something that is clearly coming out that you need to step out. You need to reach out. When you admire me, please reach out. When you admire Basil, please reach out. It is not enough to admire. There's something extra that is required, not just the admiration. So Pastor, even as we continue on this aspect of what should they consider before joining a career, what happens to the external environment? Because there's a lot that is taking place in the external environment. Because there's this, the narrow context where I'm living, but then there are things that are happening. Like here we are in Kenya, right? But there are things happening in Rwanda, there are things happening in South Africa, wherever. Like what happens? How do they affect the choice of my career?
Now, we are putting a foundation that your internal or the aspects within you are critical for you to launch out to the without. Now, once you have settled the within and you know what you have to offer, you can look out and say, where is it needed? Now, when you scan the environment and see, OTAS is required in this environment, OTAS can function here, OTAS can be able to be received here, then you position yourself to that external environment. You see, sometimes we limit ourselves, we wait to be invited.
So are you saying we invite ourselves, or we crash the party?
Present yourself, present your gifts.
Or don't crash, eh?
Well, I don't know which is the right English. If it is crashing, you can, sometimes crashing helps.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just being there and learning and providing your services to the smallest magnitude. So that environment, once you have discovered that I have a church, I can be able to go and do my thing. I have got this platform. There is this thing in TV. There is this thing in TikTok. There is this and this which is available for me to be able to present my giftings. There is this space available that people may not be seeing. Present yourself in that environment. As you watch news, get updates on the trends of what is happening in line to the things that you are having desire for. The person you admire, where is a similar person, what is a similar person in a different context doing? And you begin gathering this information and seeing spaces that can be available for you. And I want to say this, sometimes you want to think so far away, Rwanda, but sometimes you don't have to go to Rwanda for you to manifest your gifting. You need to open your eyes and see in my environment, in my world, what platform have I been given that I need to maximize?
You know, talking of platforms, there are so many social media platforms. How do they influence career choice? Like, can we look to social media and say, I have seen so and so doing this on his or her YouTube channel, I can also do this? Or are people living a lie? Can we rely on social media?
Well, see, social media is a tool, just like a knife. A knife is a tool and a weapon and also a murder gadget. So how you choose to use social media will determine how it will help you. There are guys who are getting fashion designs, excuse me, from social media. They are seeing what other people are doing in different continents and having a fusion of those ideas, creating their own designs. So social media provides a schooling platform for some people. Yet social media provides a suicide tablet for some people. And the majority are using it for suicide. They are spending time admiring people's things and not thinking of, after I've admired, how do I create my own? Now, once you have seen a good thing in social media, the question is, how long will you keep seeing people's things?
You need to start seeing yours, eh?
You need to start, people need to start seeing your things. So the aspect of social media should be a bouncing place, not a place of you live in the morning, you are just seeing what other people are doing. When are you creating yours? Find inspiration and move on. If you admire me, don't live just following me around, admiring me. Get the wisdom from the experience of what you like in me, then go and put that wisdom into practice and see how well you can become out of it. So I want to say social media can be terrible, but it can be an asset if you are wise.
So it depends on how you use it.
How you use it in terms of quantity. If you're spending too much time using social media and you're doing nothing out of it, then you are killing yourself. But if you're spending little time and spending more time in putting things into action, then you're using it to your advantage.
So we agree it can be an external factor in career choice.
It can be a good external factor because it provides you many aspects. Probably with this, you shall go to social platforms. When people get to see this on a social platform, it can be an advantage to their lives because it's a matter of selection. There's option of what you want to see. There are things I just delete. I don't want even to look at them because they don't build me. If I'm going to Nairobi, I should never look for vehicles going to Mombasa.
Don't admire Mombasa vehicles if you're coming to Nairobi, please. So Pastor, there's also this aspect that comes up with careers that, I am talented. Must I go to school? Must I go to school to succeed? I am very much talented. And they'll give you example. They say, we have Ronaldo, he's a player, he's a football player. We have so-and-so, they have just studied football all their life. We have so-and-so who began as a charcoal seller from a standard 2 dropout and became such a person in the society. I mean, Do you have to go to school? Is school important?
We must, every time we look at life, we must appreciate context. Because if we limit ourselves from understanding the context and the environments we are in, then we are setting ourselves out to crash. I grew up as a good footballer. I was a good footballer in my neighborhood. Now, the context I was growing up in, there was no reward for being a good footballer. No adequate reward. You will get some few 200 shilling notes for a game you play, 500 shillings for a game you play. But appreciating that I'm in Kenya, and living in an environment whereby there are few professional players whom we can name, who are good in football, who are building their lives out of it. I have got hundreds of people whom we played soccer with, and they focus on football only, that their lives have stopped. Right now, I have a knee injury. I can't play football the way I used to. I've grown also older. So if I had only banked on one aspect of my gifts, I would crash. And let me come back to the aspect of school. Now, with our environment, school is critical because school creates disciplines for your life. The people who have gone to school and have got gifts, they are different from the people who have got gifts and have not gone to school. An unschooled, gifted person is arrogant.
An unschooled, gifted person displays arrogance.
Yes, and that's even those who are playing soccer in serious levels, they are called academy. You have academies, whereby it's not just playing football. They go through serious training on aspects of character, on aspects of discipline, on aspects of building them, providing a school environment for them to be able to last long. Now, school gives you longevity in the practice of your gift. You learn to submit in school because there's somebody, a teacher whom you are submitting to. And I want to tell the gifted people, if you are gifted, yes, you can grow, but probably your longevity may be limited. You may not last for long because you have not learned to submit. Self-made, and there are good examples of people who did not go to school, but there are quite a few. So if you are to do, in decision making, we say you do an analysis of variables. Or which one do you say, the probability?
Probability aspect.
Probability aspect of the people who have made it, who did not go to school, vis-a-vis those who have gone to school. You will find the probability is probably 1%. Now, if it's 1% chance for you to make it, and you have got probably 60% chance for you to make it, which option do you go for?
Of course, you go to school.
Go to school.
All right. Even as we draw towards the tail end of this program for the day, I want you to just tackle one more question. And there are careers that are like careers, not talents now, careers that are inborn and that people may not need even any training on, even if it's, let's say, maybe there are people who are inborn to be doctors. You know, in traditional, you have people who had not gone to school, but they're called
Healers.
Doctors, healers. Do they exist, or this a myth?
You see, let me repeat this statement. Career is the application of the skills, the talents that you have. So your inborn gifts are just gifts.
They're not careers.
They're not careers. So you build your career better when you can work on the gifts inside of you, and then you begin a path of building it. So when you say I'm gifted, and you are not, that gift is not paying you back. It's just a gift. So, and if you don't work on establishing that gift to add value, there are guys who can sing, but they cannot sing on keys.
We are many.
Yes, you've got a beautiful voice, but as long as you're not singing in the right keys, your beautiful voice is out of order. So a gift not put in practice in the right place is out of order. It cannot benefit you. And that is why everyone who has a gift, they need to find ways of converting that gift to become part of their career journey. And I want to say this, career is a path. You keep growing your career journey into different manifestations and into different levels based on activation, based on working on those gifts to become the best in that gift.
Money or passion? Which one? Money or passion?
Money or the box?
Yes, which one?
Let me answer it this way. If I was given a choice to pick the two, I would look for the one which can attract the other.
So you're not giving us a clear answer?
I'm answering.
Okay.
You need wisdom here to understand my answer. Look for that which can pull the other.
Okay.
Now, when you have to discover what is in chemistry, what about latency, isn't it? A stronger element will attract the weaker element. Now, both could be elements, but when you look for the stronger element, what is this element that can sustain
the other?
The other, that can keep you going while the other comes. You'll discover that.
I think you've answered that.
It's not money.
It's not money,
definitely. Money will follow
passion.
Passion.
Definitely.
So if I have passion and I work on my passion well, then money will come. If I have money
and I don't have passion,
money will go. Money can go.
Yeah. So Pastor, allow me to cut you short on that one so that we just conclude on this from a very good point. I just want you to look at this camera right here and just speak to that young person who is out there and who is wondering, what am I going to do about my career? Just give them a summation of what you said here. I know we've talked about so many things, but just in like 1 minute, just tell them something before we wrap up the show.
Number one, young man or young lady, know who you are. Know your strengths. Be clear on your identity. Be clear on the things you are gifted. 2, refuse to compare yourself with others. Begin charting your path by your own self. 3, look for people who can hold your hand in that journey you desire to go. There is the wisdom of those who have gone ahead of you. You can benefit immensely by being held. People can open doors for you because of your submission. 3, don't negate the place of school. School is a serious place whereby you can manifest your craft. Just for example, allow me to deviate a bit. School provides you clubs which you can be able to work on some of the gifts that you have. So you are gifted in music. Don't quit school to go and just produce music. Stay in school and do your music. Use all your talents for the betterment of your career and keep growing yourself. If there's any investment you can make in life, is investing in yourself to become better than who you are today. Thank you so much.
Wow. I don't think I need to add anything. Invest in yourself. That is the bottom line. Either way, whether it's the talent, invest in it. It's the career, invest in it. So ladies and gentlemen, we come to the tail end of this program for today, and we want to appreciate you, our viewers, for always keeping the channel locked in, and we know we are going to bring even better topics next week. So stay on the same channel. Let's meet next week at the same time. God bless you and thank you so much.
It's good, yes, I get it. But is it all that? Is
That's
it like
the most
no avocado, no friendship?
That's the same.
Well, we have that on our face all day.
See, Hivi. So even for us, even if you've been doing makeup correctly or you're not looking so bad, it's always progressing.